Hello everyone, welcome to another LMMS tutorial. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Andrew Kushner. As I've been using LMMS for almost 15 years, I want to share some of my experience to help you create and produce your own music more efficiently and quickly. Today, I'm going to be showing you something pretty simple. I'm going to show you how to make a simple 80s style beat using only the beat baseline editor section. Now I have a really simple drum kit here. Open our triple oscillator, click on white noise. The envelope, filter, and LFO section, move the attack to around 0.1, hold 0.2, sustain all the way to 0. Double click on the decay knob, 0.3, everything up to around 4000 Hertz is coming through. Here's our spectrum analyzer. The reverb effect. Blending knob, 0.4. Equalizer, 31, 63, and 125 Hertz, turn down all the way, the 125 Hertz to -5. Click on our triple oscillator plugin, lower the first 3 knobs to 50 Hertz knob. After. Now you could use this beat as it is. Why don't we add some creativity to this and do something a little more unique with it? 4D audio is becoming more popular on YouTube and elsewhere these days. So why don't we take advantage of the stereo space we have and design a beat that moves around the stereo space and creating a more surround sound like effect? Similar to what you heard at the beginning of this video. There are many ways to achieve a surround sound like effect over 2 speakers, but I'm going to use a really basic technique here that doesn't use any automation or any external tools. We're just going to do everything in LMMS in our beat and baseline editor simply by layering and adjusting the panning of our samples and sounds. Right now we still have our 4 sounds that we started with. To create a really easy surround sound effect, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate these sounds and adjust my panning from the left to the right channels. For each of my sounds, I'm going to have one version that's the same as the version we have now, which is playing in the middle of the stereo field. For each sound, I'm going to duplicate it 4 times, and I'm going to adjust my panning so that the sound is moving from left to right. Let me take my bass drum sample. I'm going to click on the actions, there's a little gear icon for each sound. I'm going to click on it for the bass drum sample. I'm going to click clone this track, and I'm going to do it 4 times. So I have 5 bass drum acoustic 01 sounds. And I'm only going to keep the first one activated. I'm going to turn the blue squares on the other ones off for now because we're going to be changing those later. I may also modify the original too once we get going. And I'm going to repeat this process for all of my hi-hats. We aren't going to clone the snare or triple oscillator sounds right now, but I will show you something later that will help the triple oscillator sound become more 3D sounding. For our panning settings, we're going to keep the originals the same at 0% for our bass drum and hi-hat sounds. And actually for the hi-hat, I don't think we need the original sound at 0%. So we can go ahead and just remove one of those so that I have 4 hi-hat sounds. And now let's set our panning. Our original bass drum will stay the same. Nothing's going to change there. For the next one, negative 100%. The second, I'm going to double click on it, set at negative 50%. Or sorry, that was the third, I guess. The second is at negative 100%. The third is at negative 50%. The fourth, positive 50%. And the final, positive 100%. And just to keep things organized, I'm going to put my 0% in the middle. And then we're going to repeat the same process with the hi-hats, but we're not going to do 0% panning with our hi-hats. So my first hi-hat sample, negative 100%. My 2 in the middle are going to be at negative and positive 50%. And then I can just click and drag drag all the way to the right to have 100% panning for my fourth hi-hat sample. For our triple oscillator, we can also make that sound a little more three-dimensional by duplicating it only one time and changing one setting in the plugin, which I'll show you now. So let's duplicate or clone our triple oscillator sound one time, and let's open the second triple oscillator sound and go over to our envelopes, filters, and LFO tab. And what we're going to do, you can see in our envelope section, the leftmost knob we didn't use. This is the pre-delay knob. We're going to offset the sound by a little bit so that it comes in just a little later than the first sound. So let's double click our pre-delay knob and set to just 0.1. And click OK or enter on the keyboard. And let's set our first triple oscillator sound to negative 100% and our second triple oscillator sound to positive 100%. And let's now just solo these two sounds to hear what's happening. And actually, for demonstration purposes, you don't need to do this, but let me clone one more triple oscillator sound and set to 0% so that you can hear the difference between what we had before and what we have now. So let me solo the two panned triple oscillator sounds by clicking the solo button for the first sound and then clicking the mute button for the second sound. Here's what we have. And here's the original sound. And this creates just a little 3D effect to help our triple oscillator snare effect that we created fill the stereo channels a little better. And let me mute my demonstration sound that I made there. And let's activate some of these other bass drum and hi-hat sounds. To create a more 3D effect, let's make a pattern like this. Now let's give it a listen. Alright, now we got all sorts of stuff moving around in our stereo channels. But there's one other thing I didn't show you earlier, and that's how to change the tempo. If we go to the very top left section of the screen, you'll see tempo up here. And right now it's set to 140 beats per minute. To give this more of an 80s synthwave type of sound, let's drop our tempo down to 100. And you can do that by clicking and dragging downward with the mouse. And let's tweak it just a little bit more. Let me utilize my bass drum sounds a little more and just add a few more of our pan sounds. And let's give it a listen. And now we have a really dynamic beat moving across our stereo channels in a very three-dimensional sort of way. Alright, thank you for checking out my video of how to make an 80s styled beat with an 80s styled snare drum. We learned how to create a snare drum effect. We learned how to equalize our sound, and we learned how to layer sounds on top of each other. I hope this video was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you want to see more tutorial videos like this one, especially for LMMS, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you again. I will see you next time.